Hi everyone and welcome back. It's Mindy with Mindy Egan Design, and today I'm going to be sharing how I created this card using the Whimsical Wildflowers from the Gina K Designs August 2018 release. I'm going to be starting off by creating the background for my card, which is a really easy background to create. I'm using some Neenah Solar White cardstock, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm taking some of my watercolor paints. This is Gansai Tambi watercolors, and I'm using the last two in that. So it's like a gold and then a bronze. I just squirted a little bit of water in there, mixed that up with my paintbrush, and then I put some on an acrylic block and just flicked it onto my cardstock. So it's just creating a splatter background, and this is something you can use for so many different kinds of cards. I just thought this would be a really great background to have where my focal point is going to stay the focus. So this is a look at the Whimsical Wildflowers stamp set. This is such a gorgeous stamp set. It's huge, lots of images, great sentiments on here, and I fell in love instantly with the sunflowers. So I'm taking those two and some leaves, and I'm just arranging them onto some Neenah Solar White cardstock. And I'm using my MISTI stamping tool for this, just because that's how I like to stamp. And I'm using the Gina K Designs Amalgam ink. So this is Copic friendly, watercolor friendly, whatever you could think of friendly. And I'm just stamping that onto my cardstock. And you can see I'm just using a rag that helps glide my hand better over the door so I can get a really nice impression of these flowers and leaves. Now I'm going to be going into my Copic coloring. So I like to start with my darkest marker, which is going to be the YR27. It's kind of an orangish color, but that is what I wanted because I want the inside to be darker and get lighter on its way out. A lot of this is just me following the artist drawn lines on there. So with my darkest marker, I'm just going over those lines, and I'm also going over the ones that are coming from the tips so that the lightest is going to be in the middle of those petals. Then I go in with a YR24. I will blend out with a Y17. And then my lightest color is going to be the Y11. I do need to note that the colors that I started out with are not what I'm listing across the screen. I had started coloring these first few petals, and some of my markers were drying out, so I needed to switch that color combo up. So the colors I'm listing here across the screen and also on my blog are the colors that I'm using for the majority of the flower. So the rest of the coloring and also that smaller sunflower. So I do apologize for that inconvenience, but these are what I'm using for the rest of the flower. So I do continue coloring this the same way throughout all of the petals, just starting with that darkest color and blending out towards the middle, and I will bring in that little bit of dark from the top as well. I did speed up the process since it is pretty repetitive, but I did want to leave it in here for you in case you're interested in watching and following along. And I'm really excited and grateful that Gina sent me these stamps and I was able to showcase these in a video and on my blog. These are just beautiful stamps, so I'm forever thankful that she sent these over to me. So while I'm coloring this up, and be sure to check out Gina K Designs, her website. I will have that and all of my supplies listed down below in the description area and also on my blog. I also like to create a nice big Pinterest board, so if you want to save this idea for another time, I do also post a picture, a nice big picture to save to Pinterest. Those will be on my blog, and I also like to save the videos too, so you can always reference back to that, and that will be shared, and I'll have links to my Pinterest board as well if you're interested in following along there too. So even though I sped this up, there is still quite a bit of coloring left to do because I do the same coloring and using the same colors on the smaller sunflower too. I'm kind of at a loss for words as to what to say in between all of that. School is going to be starting back up soon for the kids, actually next week, so we've been busy prepping for that. Kids are definitely ready to go back to school. Not necessarily because they're bored, but I think they just need that schedule again. I know I'm a person that totally loves being on a schedule, and I get a little frazzled when my schedule gets out of order a little bit. So kids are definitely excited. My son is well beyond excited for school. Dalton is autistic, so he is definitely a schedule type of kid. He's actually been looking forward to school for the past 2 weeks. He's been asking for it. So thankfully, I know the principal, and we've been able to go up and just visit the school. We go up there and we just check out the classroom. Since he's getting a new classroom, we go into the gym, we play ball. We check out the special ed room because he's getting a new teacher there this year. So there's lots of changes for him each year, but he loves it, surprisingly. He loves the teachers. He loves his schedule, his routine. He's got that down pat. And my daughter will be entering 7th grade this year. She's a little nervous about it. We have one of the biggest middle schools in the state. So there is a lot of kids in this middle school. I know we have a lot of elementary schools, and each class in her grade throughout all of the elementary schools had probably at least 20 to 25 kids just in, one class in one school. And in her school, for instance, she had 3 different classes. There was at least 60, 70 kids just in her grade in her elementary school. That's just one. So they're all up in this one middle school. It's huge. I get lost. I don't even know how these kids find their way to their classes. They definitely stay in shape because there's so much walking around. The hallways are like a maze, but they have a great educational system. There's so many activities for these kids to do. When I was in school, in grade school, I was in a small town. So my graduating class was like 64 people, and that was pretty tiny, but my daughter handles it very well. She does really good in middle school. I'm really proud of her. She kind of has herself on a strict schedule where, you have questions, you ask, you don't hesitate. And that's one thing we really pound into her, is to just ask those questions, because homework nowadays, my gosh, it is just crazy. I have no idea what these teachers want or what they're teaching. So we always encourage her, if you have questions, you better ask in school, because mom and dad is probably not going to know. But she is excited for being a big school and a lot going on. She's actually really excited to just, I think, get started again, get something going, something to do. We've kind of exhausted all of our options for the summer, and the pool we have in the back is going to be coming down because mommy is tired of cleaning it. And our filter's broken, so it just kind of was perfect timing. I know, lots of rambling there, kind of crazy talk, but just filling in some time here while I finished coloring. You can see here I'm into the leaves now, which is YG99 and YG85. And just throwing in some dark areas, blending it out. I really didn't have any shading area in mind. I just kind of wanted to have that contrast of color. So now that those are all colored in, I'm going to take the coordinating dies, align those up, and hold those in place with some Post-it tape. I'm a big fan of Post-it tape. It doesn't rip my paper. It sticks really well when I run them through the die cut machine, so this is definitely a favorite of mine. And you can see I just twirl those dies around till I find the notch, where they line up with all the petals. And same thing for the leaves. I'll bring in the coordinating dies and attach those down with the Post-it tape and my bigger leaf set. So this is a really easy card to put together. The longest part was really the coloring, and I think in total this maybe took me an hour to put together. Now here are all of the images colored up, and I'm just loving that depth and dimension I was able to get with the sunflower. Just gorgeous. And my background is dry now, so that's set to go. Now using my MISTI tool, I'm going to take this scripty sentiment that's also on the Whimsical Wildflower stamp set. I'm aligning that with the bottom of my card, and I'm going to stamp this with the Gina K Designs Amalgam ink. And I'm actually going to stamp it twice because I really wanted it nice and bold and sticking out from the background. So I'll go ahead, stamp that twice. That's the beauty of using a MISTI stamping tool. And then just cleaning that off with my Gina K Tidy Towel. and I can start arranging where I want everything to go on my card. So there's the front card, and I just like to line this up before I had a little bit of Post-it tape left on there, so I just rubbed that off, no problem. So this just gives me an idea of where I want everything to lay down on the card. And I kind of already had this idea in my head, so this was pretty fast to kind of move along and put together. I'm going to use my tweezers and the Gina K Connect glue, and I'm laying those leaves down right to the card front. So that's going to be the furthest back out of the design. And then I'm also going to take some foam squares and add those behind my sunflowers just to give this a bit of dimension to the card. Last but not least, I will be adding on some ivory jewels from Pretty Pink Posh, and I will use my jewel picker and Gina K Connect glue to add those on. The reason I'm telling you that now before I even get to it is I need to explain the end of the video. So I use a stand to put my phone on. That's what I do the recording. And I have an app that shows my screen while I'm recording, and that'll be on my computer so I can see where everything is at. My daughter thought it would be really funny to get her nose in there, and I warned her that if she was going to mess around with my video, I was going to post it on YouTube. So my daughter is making her debut appearance on YouTube at the end of my video. Just kind of funny, just my preteen having a little bit of fun, and maybe she'll learn her lesson not to mess with mommy's videos. So it's just a little funny. If you don't like that kind of stuff, I'm sorry. It's just me having fun with my daughter, and it's at the end of the video, so it didn't disrupt any part of the card process. But I do want to thank you for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy the card that I created. Be sure to also check out my blog that I will have listed down below. Work with here.
Look at my forehead. That pimple by my eyebrow. You guys see it? It's still up in there.
Totally putting that on YouTube. It's gonna hear you talking and everything.